Captain Eric Lane stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, his eyes fixed on the main view screen. The stars looked the same as they always did on patrol duty, cold, distant, and peaceful, yet something felt different today. "Captain, sensors are picking up unusual energy readings," said Lieutenant Ryan Cooper from his station. "I've never seen patterns like these before." Eric moved closer to examine the readings. After 15 years in space, he thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. "Where are they coming from?" he asked. "About 3 light minutes from our position, sir, in the Tau Ceti sector." "Take us there, maximum safe speed," Eric ordered. "And alert all stations. I want everyone ready." The USS Defiant was Earth's most advanced warship, yet it had never fired its weapons outside of training exercises. Humanity had explored nearby star systems for decades without meeting other intelligent life. Some people doubted aliens existed at all. That doubt was about to end forever. As the Defiant approached the source of the energy readings, the crew grew silent. Floating in space before them was a massive debris field, the remains of ships unlike anything humans had built. "Scan for life signs," Eric said, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "None detected, sir," responded Officer Olivia Martinez. "But these readings suggest the battle happened less than 12 hours ago." Eric looked at the twisted metal and shattered hull pieces. "So we just missed first contact, and it was violent." Chief Engineer Jack Morrison spoke up from his console. "Captain, these ships use technologies we've only theorized about. Look at these energy signatures. Some kind of faster-than-light communication system, and these material compositions don't match anything in our database." "Sir," Ryan called. "Out," his voice tense. "New contacts appearing at the edge of the system. 3 vessels moving fast." Before Eric could respond, bright beams of energy cut through space toward the Defiant. "Evasive maneuvers," Eric shouted. "Shields up!" The ship lurched as Lieutenant Susan Powell executed a sharp turn, barely avoiding the attack. The crew held tight as the ship shook. "They didn't even try to communicate," Susan said. More energy beams followed, one grazing the Defiant's shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Shields at 60%, Jack reported. "One more direct hit and we're in trouble." Eric made a quick decision. "Target the lead vessel and fire main batteries." The Defiant's railguns launched depleted uranium shells at near light speed. The attacking ship's shields flared bright blue before failing. The projectiles tore through its hull, causing a series of explosions. Their shields weren't designed to stop physical projectiles, Ryan observed with surprise. The remaining 2 ships adjusted their attack pattern, becoming more aggressive. "They're coordinating," Eric said. "And they have us outgunned. Plot a jump out of here." As Susan prepared the escape route, Olivia raised her hand. "Captain, I'm intercepting communications between the enemy ships. It's not in any known language, but our computers are starting to translate bits of it." "What are they saying?" Eric asked. "Something about a fleet. A main fleet headed to a place called Theria. The translation says, 'Planet Killer will be deployed.'" The ship rocked again as another attack hit them. "Shields at 30%, Jack warned. "Jump drive ready, sir," Susan reported. Eric looked once more at the alien vessels. "Get everything you can from their communications, then get us out of here." The Defiant vanished in a flash of light, just as another barrage of energy weapons reached its position. When they emerged from the jump, the ship was limping. Damage reports flooded in from all decks. Eric stood in the center of the bridge, his mind racing. They had just confirmed the existence of intelligent alien life, been attacked without provocation, and learned about what sounded like an impending genocide. "Set course for the nearest habitable system," he ordered. "We need repairs. And contact. Earth command immediately. Tell them everything has changed." As the message was sent, Eric knew humanity would never be the same again. They were no longer alone in the universe, and their first neighbors were at war. The USS Defiant drifted into the system with minimal power. Captain Eric Lane ordered, "All non-essential systems shut down to preserve energy and reduce their chance of detection." The damage from the alien attack was worse than they first thought. Status report, Eric said as he studied the unfamiliar star system on the view screen. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4 are sealed, Jack Morrison replied. Shields are at 20%. Weapon systems are functional, but the jump drive needs at least 8 hours of repairs. Lieutenant Susan Powell spoke up from her station. Captain, I'm detecting another ship in this system. It appears to be damaged and adrift near the 4th planet. Is it one of the ships that attacked us? Eric asked. No, sir. Different design completely, and its energy signature is very weak. Eric considered his options carefully. They needed repairs, but another encounter could be deadly. Then again, if they were going to survive in this new reality, they needed information. Take us closer, but slowly. Keep our weapons ready. As they approached, they could see the alien vessel clearly. It was elegant, silvery blue with long, sweeping lines like a sea creature. And it was 3 times larger than the Defiant. Parts of its hull were torn open, exposing inner decks to space. Life signs? Eric asked. Yes, sir, Ryan Cooper confirmed. Several hundred, but many appear weak. Before Eric could respond, a transmission came through. The bridge speakers filled with strange sounds, clicks, whistles, and tones that no human had ever heard before. Can we translate that? Eric asked. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez worked quickly at her station. The computer is trying to find patterns. It might take some time without a reference point. Send them a simple mathematical sequence, Eric suggested. Prime numbers, it's the universal language. After transmitting the sequence, they waited. Seconds stretched into minutes. Then a response came. The same sequence completed, followed by new sounds. They're communicating, Olivia said excitedly. The translation program is building a basic framework. The main screen flickered and showed an alien face. It had blue-gray skin, large eyes with vertical pupils and no visible nose. When it spoke, the computer provided rough translations. I am Admiral Katora of the Confederation vessel. Light of Zimaris. You are unknown species. Why are you here? Eric stood straight. I am Captain Eric Lane of the Earthship USS Defiant. We encountered a battle and were attacked by vessels with energy weapons. We came here to make repairs. The alien's eyes widened. You fought Zivari ships and survived. Impossible for unregistered species. We destroyed one of their vessels before escaping, Eric said. A long silence followed. The alien seemed to be conferring with others off-screen. Your ship design is primitive, yet you defeated Zivari. How? Jack Morrison stepped forward. Our weapons fire physical projectiles, not energy beams. Their shields weren't designed to stop them. This caused a commotion among the aliens. Finally, Admiral Katora spoke again. Need assistance? Repairs? We offer knowledge exchange. Eric nodded. We also need repairs. Perhaps we can help each other. The Admiral seemed hesitant. You are not in Galactic Registry. How is this possible? We've never encountered other intelligent life before today, Eric explained. We developed independently. This caused even more commotion. The aliens spoke rapidly among themselves. Impossible, Katora finally said. All species are guided, monitored. You evolved alone? As far as we know, Eric confirmed. The alien admiral stared at them for a long moment. We face grave situation. Zivari fleet approaches Therian homeworld. Billions will die, our forces and scattered, defeated. Eric understood now. These weren't the aggressors. They were the defenders, and they were losing. The Zivari have a planet-killer weapon, Eric said. We intercepted their communications. Katora's expression changed in a way Eric couldn't interpret. You would help us? Why? Eric looked around at his crew, then back at the alien. Because if they're willing to destroy one world, ours could be next. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of activity. Engineers from both ships worked together to repair the damage. Humans and aliens moved cautiously around each other at first, but their common goal soon broke down barriers. Jack Morrison worked beside a tall, thin alien engineer named Zeph. They were trying to improve the Defiant's shield systems using Confederation technology. "Your power systems are strange," Zeph said, studying the human designs. "But very efficient. We would not have thought to build them this way." Jack smiled. "Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one." On the bridge, Captain Eric Lane and Admiral Katora reviewed star maps of the region. The alien commander pointed to a bright blue star. "Theria is here. 10 billion people. Main civilization center." "And the Zivari fleet?" Eric asked. Katora moved his long finger to another point. "Here, moving fast. We'll reach Theria in 5 days." "What forces does the Confederation have in the area?" The alien's face darkened. "Few ships. Not enough? The Zivari attacked many worlds at once. Our fleet is scattered." In the communications center, Lieutenant Olivia Martinez established a secure channel back to Earth. The face of Admiral William Grant appeared on screen. "Captain Lane, your report is troubling," the Admiral said. "Are you absolutely certain about what you've discovered?" "Yes, sir," Olivia answered. "We have visual confirmation of 2 alien species and evidence of an ongoing interstellar war." "And you've offered our assistance to one side?" "The Zivari attacked us without provocation, sir," she explained, "and they plan to use a weapon that can destroy an entire planet. The Confederation is fighting for survival." The Admiral was silent for a long moment. "The President and Joint Chiefs are divided on how to respond. Some want to avoid the conflict entirely. Sir, with respect, if the Zivari win this war, Earth won't be safe. They've already demonstrated their aggression toward us." Another pause. "Very well. We're dispatching 5 additional ships to your position. The USS Valiant, Intrepid, Courageous, Dauntless, and Resolute. They'll arrive within 48 hours. "Thank you, sir. Captain Lane is authorized to make tactical decisions until a formal response can be coordinated. Good luck, Lieutenant. Earth out." In the science lab, Lieutenant Susan Powell worked with Confederation scientists to study the Zivari weapon. The aliens shared data they had gathered during previous encounters. "It generates a field that destabilizes a planet's core," explained a female alien named Mira. "Once activated, the planet tears itself apart within hours." Susan studied the schematics. "Have they used it before?" "Once. On a small colony world. 2 million dead." Susan felt sick. There must be a way to stop it. On the other side of the ship, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper and Tactical Officer Frank Daniels reviewed Confederation battle strategies. "Their formations are so orderly," Frank said, watching recordings of previous battles. "Almost predictable." Ryan nodded. "The Zivari seem to use similar patterns. It's like they're following rules we don't know about." "That could be an advantage for us," Frank suggested. "They won't know what to expect from human tactics." As repairs neared completion, Captain Lane called a meeting with his senior officers. "Earth is sending reinforcements, but there'll only be 6 ships against a Zivari fleet," he told them. "We need every advantage we can get." "Sir," Jack Morrison spoke up, "the Confederation engineers are amazed by our nuclear weapons. Apparently, most advanced species abandoned that technology thousands of years ago." "Too destructive and unstable," they said. Susan added. "But that means the Zivari have no defenses against them." Eric nodded slowly. "Then that's our edge. We modify our nuclear torpedoes to penetrate their shields." "Sir," Frank said, "I've been studying their battle tactics. They fight like they're following a rule book. If we use unpredictable maneuvers, we might confuse them." Eric looked at his crew. Humans who had never expected to fight an alien war. But determination showed on every face. "We have 3 days. Before we rendezvous with Earth ships and 5 days before the Zivari reach Theria, let's make every hour count." 3 days later, the USS Defiant reached the meeting point near the edge of the Therian system. 5 human ships waited there, along with a scattered group of Confederation vessels. Captain Eric Lane felt a sense of relief at seeing the familiar shapes of Earth's warships. "Open a channel to Captain Lisa Rodriguez on the USS Valiant," Eric ordered. The screen flickered and showed a woman with short black hair and determined eyes. "Good to see you in one," Peace, Eric. Your messages caused quite a stir back home. Glad you could join the party, Lisa. How much were you told about the situation? Enough to know we're about to fight in someone else's war, she replied. The crew is nervous but ready. Eric nodded. We'll have a full briefing in 1 hour. The Confederation representatives want to meet our captains. The meeting took place on the largest Confederation ship. The room was filled with aliens of different shapes and sizes, all watching the human officers with curious eyes. Admiral Katora stood at the front. We thank humans for coming, the Admiral said. But we must speak truth. Your ships are few, and your technology is... He paused, searching for a polite word. Primitive, Captain Rodriguez suggested with a slight smile. Less advanced, Katora corrected. We fear you do not understand danger of Zivari fleet. Frank Daniels stepped forward. With respect, Admiral, that might be our advantage. Your species have been fighting each other using the same tactics for centuries. You've all developed similar technologies and countermeasures, but humans evolved separately. What, officer? Daniels means, Eric explained, is that our unpredictable strategies and different weapons might surprise the Zivari. Show them, Eric said to Dr. Nicole Harper, their weapons specialist. Nicole activated a display showing specifications of Earth's nuclear torpedoes. This is a Class 4 nuclear weapon. The explosive yield is equivalent to 20 million tons of TNT. The aliens fell silent, staring at the screen. This cannot be correct, one alien said. Such unstable weapons would destroy the ship carrying them. Not with proper containment, Nicole replied. We've used these safely for decades. Another alien spoke up. All advanced species abandoned nuclear weapons thousands of years ago. Too dangerous, too primitive. Sometimes old solutions work best against new problems, Eric said. Your scans show the Zivari shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not physical objects with nuclear payloads. Admiral Katora studied the weapon designs carefully. This changes our planning. Over the next day, human and alien engineers worked together to integrate their technologies. Jack Morrison discovered that the Confederation targeting systems were far more precise than Earth's, and could be used to guide the nuclear torpedoes with perfect accuracy. Meanwhile, Frank Daniels ran simulations of human battle tactics against Zivari formations. The results were promising. Their combat computers can't predict our movements, he told Captain Lane. They expect everyone to follow the same tactical rulebook. What about our hull designs? Eric asked. Another surprise, Frank said. Our ships use different materials. Tests show we're more resistant to their energy weapons than Confederation hulls. On the bridge of the USS Valiant, Captain Rodriguez studied the latest intelligence reports. The Zivari fleet will arrive in less than 24 hours. 96 vessels, including their flagship carrying the planet-killer weapon. Against our 11 ships and the Confederation's 14, Eric noted. Not great odds. We've faced worse, Lisa said with confidence she didn't entirely feel. Eric looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth, now exposed to a universe more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The plan is simple. We hit their forward elements first using our unpredictable maneuvers to confuse them. When they adjust their formations, the Confederation ships attack their flanks. Admiral Katora joined them on the bridge. My people were skeptical of human help. Now they are curious, perhaps even hopeful. Hope is good, Eric said, but solid tactics and nuclear warheads are better. The three leaders watched as their combined fleet formed up, human and alien ships side by side. The final countdown to battle had begun. The Zivari fleet appeared at the edge of the system like a swarm of angry hornets. Their ships were dark and angular, bristling with weapons. The human Confederation fleet waited in formation, engines humming, weapons ready. On the bridge of the USS Defiant, Captain Eric Lane took a deep breath. All ships maintain radio silence. Wait for my signal. The plan was to let the Zivari advance toward Theria, thinking the path was clear. The combined fleet hid behind a large moon, masked by sensor jamming technology from the Confederation. Enemy. Fleet is passing the outer planets, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper reported quietly, as if the Zivari might hear him. Their formation is tight, just as our intelligence suggested. They're not expecting resistance, Frank Daniels said. Their forward scouts must have reported the area was clear. Eric nodded. Good. That's exactly what we wanted them to think. He opened a channel to all ships. Remember the plan. The USS Valiant leads the first strike. Hit them hard and fast, then pull back before they can coordinate a response. On the USS Valiant, Captain Lisa Rodriguez stood ready. Her ship would execute what the Confederation officers had called a suicidal maneuver, a high-speed run straight through the center of the Zivari formation. Engines at full power, she ordered. Weapon systems ready. Her crew looked nervous but determined. They had trained for combat but never expected their first battle would be against an alien armada. 10 minutes until the Zivari reach our position, her tactical officer announced. Lisa turned to her communications officer. Send the signal to the fleet. The dance begins in 10. The minutes ticked by slowly. The Zivari fleet grew larger on their screens, unaware of the trap. 5 minutes. 3 minutes. 1 minute. Lisa took a deep breath. Launch the first. Nuclear torpedoes. Target their lead vessels. The torpedoes shot away from the Valiant, racing toward the unsuspecting Zivari ships. All engines ahead full, Lisa commanded. Take us right through their formation. The USS Valiant burst from behind the moon like an angry predator. The nuclear torpedoes reached their targets seconds later, detonating in blinding flashes of light and energy. 3 Zivari ships vanished in the explosions. 2 more spun out of control, critically damaged. Confusion spread through the Zivari fleet. Their sensors had detected nothing until the moment of attack. Now an unknown vessel was charging straight at them. On the Zivari command ship, Supreme War Leader Drozix watched in shock as the human ship tore through his neat formation. What species is that? It's not in our database. Unknown, War Leader. His second-in-command replied. The ship design doesn't match any Confederation record. Destroy it, Drozix ordered, his scaled face flushing with anger. The Zivari ships tried to target the Valiant, but the human vessel moved in ways their targeting computers couldn't predict. It changed direction at full speed, pulling turns that would have torn apart most ships. They can't lock onto us, Lisa's tactical officer shouted with excitement. Launch second wave of torpedoes, Lisa ordered, then execute evasive pattern Delta. More nuclear torpedoes streaked toward the Zivari vessels. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons, offered little protection against the physical warheads and their massive explosive force. As the Valiant drew the Zivari attention, the rest of the human Confederation fleet emerged from hiding. The USS Defiant led the charge, with Captain Lane coordinating the attack. All ships focus fire on their left flank, Eric commanded. The Confederation vessels will hit their right. The battle erupted across space. Human ships darted between the larger Zivari vessels, launching torpedoes and missiles. The Confederation ships provided support with their advanced energy weapons. War Leader Drozix watched in growing rage as his perfect formation fell apart. Ignore the Confederation ships. Focus all fire on the unknown vessels. They are the greater threat. This was exactly what Admiral Katora had hoped for. With the Zivari concentrating on the human ships, the Confederation vessels could attack from behind. The battle seemed to be turning in their favor when a massive Zivari cruiser broke from the main fleet, accelerating toward Theria. Captain, Ryan called out, that ship is carrying the planet killer. They're deploying it early. Eric's heart sank. All ships continue the attack. USS Defiant will pursue the planet killer. The Defiant broke away from the main battle, engines straining as it chased the Zivari cruiser carrying the deadly weapon. They couldn't let it reach Theria. The USS Defiant raced after the Zivari cruiser carrying the planet killer weapon. Every second counted as the enemy ship drew closer to Theria. Push the engines to maximum, Captain Eric Lane ordered. We can't let them deploy that weapon. Aye, Captain, Jack Morrison replied from engineering. Engines at 110%. They won't hold this speed for long. The Defiant slowly gained on the Zivari cruiser, but 3 enemy escort ships noticed the pursuit. They broke formation and turned to intercept. Enemy ships on intercept course, Frank Daniels reported. Energy weapons charging. Evasive maneuvers, Eric ordered. Prepare nuclear torpedoes. The ship shook as enemy fire struck their shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Direct hit, Ryan Cooper called out. Shields down to 40%. Another blast rocked the ship harder. Sparks flew from a control panel. Shields at 15%, Ryan updated. One more hit, and they're gone. Launch torpedoes, Eric ordered. The weapons officer pressed the launch button. Nothing happened. Sir, the torpedo launch system is damaged. Automatic firing system is offline. Eric slammed his fist on the armrest. We can't let that planet killer reach the area. Lieutenant Commander Paul Weber stood up from his station. Captain, we can launch manually. The torpedoes are intact, but the firing system is down. How? Eric asked. EVA team. We go outside and release the torpedoes by hand, then manually program their guidance systems. Jack Morrison's voice came over the comm. He's right, Captain. It could work, but it's extremely dangerous. Eric looked at Paul. How many people would you need? Just me and one other person. Another hit shook the ship. More systems went offline. Shields are gone, Ryan reported. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4. Eric made his decision. Do it, but make it fast. Paul nodded and ran from the bridge. He met Ensign Kara Lewis in the airlock, as they quickly put on their spacesuits. We have 4 nuclear torpedoes left, Paul explained as they prepared to exit the ship. We need to release them manually and reprogram their targeting systems to lock onto the cruiser. Kara nodded, her young face serious behind her helmet visor. I understand, sir. They stepped into the airlock, cycled it, and moved out into the vacuum of space. Holding onto handrails, they made their way to the torpedo bay. Below them, the battle raged, flashes of light marking explosions and weapons fire. Inside the medical bay, Dr. Diane Foster worked frantically to treat the wounded. Both human crew members and several Confederation allies they had taken aboard lay on beds as she moved between them. Pressure bandage here, she instructed a nurse as she treated a burned alien. Their blood chemistry is different, but the principles are the same. The ship shook again. The lights flickered. Main power is failing, a voice announced over the Rio comm system. Switching to emergency power. Outside, Paul and Kara reached the torpedo bay. The manual release controls were exposed to space, normally only accessed during maintenance. Paul began the process of disengaging the safety locks. Almost there, he called to Kara over the radio. Once I release them, you'll need to reprogram each targeting system. You have 30 seconds per torpedo before they activate. Ready when you are, she replied. Paul released the first torpedo. Kara quickly attached a portable programming device to its access port and entered the targeting data. She moved to the next one as Paul released it. On the bridge, Eric watched on the external cameras. The Zivari cruiser is almost in range of Theria, Ryan reported. 2 minutes until they can deploy the planet killer. The third torpedo was away. As Paul reached for the release mechanism on the fourth, a piece of debris from the battle struck his tether. He began to drift away from the ship. Paul, Kara shouted. Finish the mission, he called back. I'll find a way back. Kara programmed the third torpedo and moved to the fourth as Paul struggled to control his drift using his suit's thrusters. He was moving farther away with each second. The fourth torpedo was ready. All 4 nuclear weapons streaked toward the Zivari cruiser. Torpedoes are away, Kara reported as she made her way back to the airlock. But Commander Weber is adrift. We need to rescue him. The torpedoes closed on their target. The Zivari cruiser detected them and attempted evasive maneuvers, but it was too late. The first torpedo struck its engines, disabling them. The other 3 hit in sequence, breaking the ship apart in a massive explosion. The planet killer weapon was destroyed before it could be deployed. Theria was saved. But Paul Weber was still drifting in space, his oxygen running low, as enemy ships closed in on the damaged Defiant. Paul Weber floated in the emptiness of space, watching his ship grow smaller. His suit thrusters weren't powerful enough to get him back to the Defiant. The oxygen indicator on his wrist showed 30 minutes remaining. Commander Weber to Defiant, he called over the radio. I'm still drifting away. suit thrusters insufficient for return. On the bridge, Eric heard Paul's message and felt his stomach sink. The ship was too damaged to launch a rescue shuttle, and enemy vessels were closing in. Captain, Olivia Martinez, said urgently, "The Confederation ships are sending a message to all frequencies. They're rallying to our position." Eric looked at the tactical display. It was true. The Confederation fleet, seeing what the Defiant had done, was pushing toward them with renewed determination. "Tell them we've destroyed the planet killer, but we have a man down," Eric ordered, "and we need immediate assistance." Throughout the Confederation fleet, the news spread quickly. The strange human ships had sacrificed themselves to save Theria. The unknown aliens had done what seemed impossible. Admiral Katora's voice came over the comm system. "Human ships shown great courage. All Confederation vessels protect USS Defiant." The badly damaged medical bay on the Defiant continued operating on emergency power. Dr. Diane Foster worked without rest, moving between injured crew members. Both humans and Confederation allies needed her care. "Doctor," a Confederation medic, named Lyra, said, "Your methods are different from ours, but effective. I am learning much from you." Diane smiled tiredly as she bandaged a wound. "Sometimes simple solutions work best. Hold this pressure bandage here." On the engineering deck, Jack Morrison worked frantically with his team to restore power. The ship's main reactor was failing. "If we can bypass these circuits," he told a Confederation engineer, "we might get enough power for a rescue operation." "Too dangerous," the alien said. "Power surge could destroy reactor." Jack didn't hesitate. "We're not leaving Paul out there to die." In space, Paul's oxygen level dropped to 20 minutes. He watched as 3 Zivari attack ships approached the Defiant, weapons charging. The human ship couldn't survive another attack. "At least we got the planet killer," he thought. Billions of lives saved, even if it cost him his own. Suddenly, a bright flash of light caught his attention. A ship appeared seemingly out of nowhere between the Defiant and the approaching Zivari vessels. It was the USS Intrepid, commanded by Captain Alan Shepard. The Intrepid had executed a dangerous micro-jump, a short, faster-than-light hop that put it directly in the line of fire. Its fresh shields took the hits meant for the Defiant. "This is Captain Shepard," a voice called over the comm. "Thought you could use some help, Eric." "Perfect timing, Alan," Eric replied, relief in his voice. "We have a man down, adrift in space." "We see him, launching rescue shuttle now." Paul watched in amazement as a small craft deployed from the Intrepid and headed straight for him. Hope replaced resignation in his heart. Across the battlefield, the tide was turning. The Confederation ships, inspired by the human sacrifice, attacked with renewed vigor. The Zivari, having committed too many resources to destroying the human vessels, found their formations broken. "Their supply lines are exposed," Frank Daniels pointed out on the tactical display. "If we hit them there, they'll have to retreat." In engineering, Jack Morrison made a discovery while working with the Confederation engineers. "Captain, I think we found a weakness in the Zivari power cores. If we broadcast a specific energy frequency, we might overload their shield harmonics." "How soon can you have it ready?" Eric asked. 10 minutes if everything goes right." The rescue shuttle reached Paul Weber and brought him safely aboard. As they returned to the Intrepid, Paul watched through the viewport as more human and Confederation ships engaged the Zivari fleet. On the Zivari command ship, Supreme War Leader Drozix faced a difficult decision. His planet killer was destroyed. His fleet was taking unexpected losses. These unknown humans had changed everything. "Target their main ship," he ordered in rage. "We will ram the Therian capital city ourselves. They will remember the might of the Zivari Empire." His flagship turned toward the planet, engines flaring to full power. It was a final, desperate act of destruction. Captain Lisa Rodriguez on the USS Valiant saw the maneuver and instantly understood its purpose. "They're going to crash into the planet," she told her crew. "We're the only ship close enough to intercept." Without hesitation, she made her decision. "Set intercept course, full power to engines." The Valiant raced to place itself between the Zivari flagship and the vulnerable planet below. 2 weeks after the battle, representatives from Earth arrived at the Confederation Council. The large chamber was filled with delegates from 12 different species. Captain Eric Lane, now promoted to admiral, stood with his senior officers before the council. The head counselor, a tall being with silvery skin, addressed the assembly. "Today we welcome humans to the Galactic Confederation. Their courage saved billions of lives on Theria." Eric thought back to the final moments of the battle. The USS Valiant had intercepted the Xivari flagship, placing itself directly in its path. The collision destroyed both vessels in a blinding flash. Captain Lisa Rodriguez and her crew had sacrificed themselves to save the Therian capital city. After that, the Xivari forces lost all coordination. The combined attack using Jack Morrison's shield disruption technique had disabled dozens of enemy ships. The remaining Xivari vessels retreated in disarray, marking their first major defeat in the war. The humans developed space travel without guidance, the head counselor continued. They evolved independently, creating unique approaches to technology and warfare. This challenges our understanding of intelligent development. Eric stepped forward when invited to speak. "We came here as strangers, unaware of the wider galaxy. We fought because it was right, because no species should face extinction." He paused, looking at the faces of aliens who had been enemies just days before. "We lost good people in this battle, the crew of the Valiant, others on our ships, but their sacrifice formed a bond between our worlds that cannot be broken." In the weeks following the battle, human engineers had worked alongside Confederation scientists. Both sides had much to learn from each other. The Confederation was particularly interested in Earth's primitive technologies that had proven so effective against the Xivari. "Nuclear weapons are dangerous," one scientist had admitted to Jack Morrison. "But they worked when our advanced energy weapons failed." After the formal ceremony, Eric found Admiral Katora waiting for him. The alien commander looked different now, less severe, perhaps even friendly. "Your promotion is well-deserved," Katora said. "You will represent Earth well in the Confederation." "I'm still getting used to the idea," Eric admitted. "A month ago, we thought we were alone in the universe, and we thought all intelligent species evolved under our guidance," Katora replied. "We both had much to learn." Later that day, a memorial service honored those who had died in the battle. Humans and aliens stood side by side as names were read, and lights were released into space, one for each fallen warrior. Dr. Diane Foster stood next to Lyra, the Confederation medic she had worked with. "In medicine, at least, we found common ground quickly," she said quietly. "Life is life," Lyra agreed, "no matter its form." On the observation deck, Frank Daniels studied reports from intelligence officers. "The Xivari Empire is in chaos," he told Susan Powell. "Their leadership is fractured after the defeat. Moderate factions are gaining power." "You think the war might end?" she asked hopefully. "It's possible. This was their first major defeat in 20 years. The door opened, and Paul Weber joined them, still moving carefully after his space rescue. "Admiral Lane is looking for both of you a new mission." They made their way to the command center where Eric waited with officers from both human and Confederation forces. A large tactical display showed the border regions of Xivari space. "Intelligence suggests the Xivari are vulnerable," Eric explained. "The Confederation Council has approved a counter-offensive." He pointed to a series of star systems. "These were conquered worlds. Their populations have suffered under Xivari rule for years. We're going to free them." "What's our role?" Frank asked. "Earth is sending a new fleet," Eric said. "The USS Vindicator will lead the operation." The door opened again and Admiral Katora entered with several Confederation commanders. One of them, a reptilian alien, smiled at the sight of the humans, a gesture he had obviously learned recently. "Is good news," he said in basic English. "More human ships coming. My communications officer just sent alert to all Confederation vessels." "What did the message say?" Susan asked. The alien's smile widened. "Battlefield alert. Human warships entering the fight." This time, Eric noticed, the words carried no fear. only hope and friendship. Humanity had found its place among the stars.